You, of course, are listening to the MHA podcast. Why in the world would you play Isaiah McKenzie over your third-round pick, T. Higgins? Why?
I like any quarterback that can make Will Fuller look good.
I love it. I think he's a top 20 receiver.
I mean, he is the Jamar Chase whisperer.
Oh, hell yes. Oh, my God.
You know, everybody loves Lamar Jackson.
Hated it.
I trust Derek Carr.
Come on. For real?
I know why you did. It's because you're crazy.
It's the dough of the week, and the games aren't even over yet. It's great. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Patrick Mahomes. Looks so good. Kyle Pitts was bad. Stank.
It's not my shebang. Justin Jefferson.
So good.
We could call him Russell Wilson if you want.
Ooh. Well done, sir. That is good stuff. All of those guys have more fantasy points than Tom Brady. I'm laughing, but I'm crying at the same time. It's terrible. All right. Welcome to the MHA podcast. What a weird and kind of week one of the 2023 season. I know I say that because I lost, but there's a lot of shitty things that took place here in the first week of the season. Eric Lansing, Mike Renaud, Todd Diamond here to discuss all of it. Fellas, how we doing on this Tuesday evening? Some of us better than others.
Yeah, fantasy football is great. Just want to point that out. Fantasy football is just great. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. Everything's great. Everything's great. Yeah.
That's a lot of great from someone who doesn't mean great. But all right, sure. Mikey, you're 1-0. You must be feeling pretty good.
Todd sounds so somber. I almost want to give him a hug.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't want your hug.
A rough weekend for Todd.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was rough. Okay, all right. This is bad. This is bad.
Of course, we mean Todd's just saying the same thing over and over. Great, great, great. Bad, bad, bad. Who knows what he means? But he's on the show anyway. One thing, we'll talk about the injuries here in a second, but the one thing that kind of stood out to me, and I heard this on a different podcast where, let me ask you guys this question. How many touchdowns do you think were scored in week one? Just give me a number.
30.
I'll say 50.
Mikey was a little closer. 61 total touchdowns were scored. You compare that to last season where 73 touchdowns were scored, and 2 seasons ago, 88 touchdowns. So very, very low scoring week one. And we saw that pretty much across the board. Some teams, had some decent days. Mikey had a good scoring day. Allen's team had a good scoring day. But we had 4 teams that didn't even reach 100 points. That's pretty low. And I don't think it's based on the talent that's out there. It was just, I don't know if defenses were ready to roll in week one. I don't know if it has to do with a lot of teams not even playing people in the preseason. So a lot of people were not stretched out. And we saw that with a plethora of hamstring injuries that took place this weekend as well. But it just didn't seem like points were being put up at a premium, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It was definitely, I think just maybe week one, a lot of the players, if you haven't played in the preseason, players are like just a little rusty. That's all it is. I think we always expect like, with I'm already turned up already.
Well, keep turning it up, bitch. Let's go.
It's already turned up. It's up all the way. It can't go anymore.
All right, well, we'll turn you up in post.
All right.
So Todd thinks everybody's a little rusty. What do you think, Miguel?
I just think defense is ahead of the offense right now. I mean, people not playing in the preseason's playing a factor. It'll get better just like it usually does as time goes along.
All right, yeah. So hopefully, for fantasy owners, we would like to see more points on the board. We'd like to see offenses get ahead. There's also some bad offenses out there as well. And you hope you didn't pick up players from the team like, I did with the Giants, but maybe the Cowboys defense is just superhuman at this point. It was pretty incredible to watch. We'll talk more about it as we get into it. But first, let's get into some news.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
And we'll start things off with, of course, the biggest news, and some people are calling the biggest injury of all time. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but Aaron Rodgers leaves the Monday Night Football game incredibly early. I think 4 total plays. And, of course, Todd needing every single bit that he could out of Aaron Rodgers doesn't get anything from him. And so Rodgers tears his Achilles. I don't even know if he'll ever play again. I mean, for someone as old as he is, and it's harder to recover and rebound from those types, especially an Achilles injury at his age. You're talking if he really wants to come back, maybe 2 years. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how that kind of goes. We can talk more about it as we go through here. Speaking of tore Achilles, Ravens running back J.K. Dobbins, man, oh man, the potential of that guy. Mikey loves that word potential, but he is also out for the season. Tough to see that from such a talented running back. Another running back injury. One of other Todd's players, Aaron Jones, scored a long touchdown run, but also came up with a hamstring injury. I haven't heard anything. Has anybody else heard anything? Is this supposed to be long-term, short-term, anything?
No, I haven't. Go ahead.
You haven't heard anything, Todd?
Yeah, I heard that it was like at least Aaron Jones said that it was like a slight pull, not a full pull, whatever that's worth. Like he said he didn't come back in the game because the team was looking out for him. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see if he practices.
Which is fine. I mean, if they're cautious with him and he's good to go for Sunday, he doesn't have to practice or anything like that. He's good to go. He's good to go.
Todd is confident in Aaron Jones. He has to be, or his whole season's going to be over. Another hamstring injury that looked way worse than Aaron Jones, Deontay Johnson, Steelers wide receiver. He went down like his rest of his career was over. He was in agonizing pain, but apparently he's only going to miss a couple weeks. In fact, I saw something just a few moments ago that he may not play this week. So he may only miss 1 week. I don't know. Luckily, it wasn't as bad, but hamstring injuries are something to keep an eye on. Seahawks wide receiver Tyler Lockett dealing with a concussion. I haven't really seen how serious that is, but you never know. You got to go through the protocol and all that fun stuff. Broncos tight end Greg Dulcich to miss a few weeks. Also a hamstring injury. And some on the positive news. Joe Burrow got paid this past week. Highest paid quarterback ever. And then had one of his worst outings of his NFL career ever. So there's that. Fun to watch that Bengals game, to say the least. Anything else? Anything I missed? Any other injuries? I tried to go through the notes and didn't see anything else. They seem like the most pertinent ones.
Well, it's kind of just interesting just with the Aaron Rodgers thing that this is kind of it kind of reminded people of what Vinny Testaverde happened with what happened to him, the same kind of thing with his Achilles. I think it was 99 if I'm correct, if that's correct. How he went down, because obviously because that was coming off their AFC Championship loss, right? I think.
Right. Correct.
Am I correct on that one?
You're correct.
Okay. And that, well, I mean, granted, Vinny Testaverde was a little bit older than Aaron Rodgers then. I think Vinny Testaverde is like over 40 already, I think, when he got hurt. So just something interesting there for all the Jets fans out there. Doesn't get any better.
Not a lot of Jet fans here in this league, but sure.
Nope.
Nice little tidbit. All
There
right.
you go.
Well, let's keep going, and we'll do something that Todd loves to do. MHA trivia.
Yay.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
All right, so not a lot of touchdowns were scored in week 1. So let's talk about guys that scored 2 touchdowns in week 1. 9 different guys scored 2 touchdowns, and this is non-quarterback throwing. This is position players. So we'll go back and forth. Whoever gets to 4 first wins MHA trivia. And of course, we'll let Todd go first. Todd, name me a player that scored 2 touchdowns in week 1.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. I believe that is correct. Good job, Todd. He's on the board with Tyreek Hill. Over to you, Miguel.
I'm gonna go at Tyler Algier.
Tyler Algier, the Falcons' backup running back, supposedly. He scored 2 touchdowns. Correct. And we're tied at 1-1. Back to you, Todd. Do you have another guess on a player that scored 2 touchdowns? No one scored 3, by the way. These were the guys that scored 2.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. No, I'm sorry. He did not have 2 touchdowns. If
Yeah, he
I
did.
didn't. Did
Yeah,
he?
he did. Yes.
I didn't see that on the sheet here. Let me go through and
'Cause
look
he had-
again.
Because he had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown.
Oh, yep, you're probably right. I probably didn't look at it that way.
Dang,
All right,
right.
we'll give Todd the point.
That's right.
It's Aaron Jones. What is
I
it
knew
like?
because it was against me, so I was like, yeah, sure.
And the
Gotta
second one
shake
is
the
when he got
rust
hurt.
off. All right, Mikey, back to you.
I'm gonna go with Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk. I think he was the first guy on the weekend to do it, if I'm not mistaken. He got it pretty quick. And we're tied at 2 apiece. Back to you, Todd.
Let's see. I'll go with ooh.
I think Todd's stumped.
I'm stumped. No.
I mean, you name. Well, there's one like major player. Like everyone else, kind of no names, which is kind of the point of this. But
Oh,
there's still a
okay.
big name out there.
God, I was gonna say that Rams wide receiver, but that's probably not right. I think he only scored 1. I'll go with
Todd's blanking. He ain't got nobody.
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley. He had 1, but not 2. Mikey, to you. Chance to take the lead here.
Come on, Todd. It happened in the Bronco game. Jacoby Myers.
I'm trying to forget that game too, Mikey. Okay.
Those who forget are doomed to repeat. Mikey takes a 3-2 lead. Todd, a chance to tie it up here.
Okay.
Still have quite a few names on this list, but Jacoby Myers, how about that picking up 2? Big day.
Let's see. Let's go with
A couple of backup running backs, a starting running back.
that Kyrie Williams guy from the Rams.
I'll give you credit. It's Kyron Williams.
Kyron Williams, sorry.
But well done. Keep the music going here. Tied 3-3. Mikey, a chance to win it all if you can guess right here.
Did Tyreek Hill score 2? Not Tyreek Hill. Austin Eckler.
Did Austin Eckler? Now I'm gonna have to look this one up. I don't recall him. I didn't have him, but I also didn't look at to see if he also had. Dun, 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 dun. No, he did not have 2. Sorry. There's the wrong. Still tied 3-3. Todd, chance for the win here.
I'll go with Amon St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh, Todd Diamond, so close. He did score the first touchdown of the season, but he did not have 2 touchdowns. Mikey, another chance to win it all here.
Sorry, I was just writing something down.
Writing something down during MHA trivia? You dolt. No, I'm just kidding.
That's how
I
I.
know what you're-
That's my thinking process.
Oh, all right. Listen here, son. You don't need to get all crazy about it. I don't know what you're doing over there.
I'm gonna go with Justice Hill.
Justice Hill.
That's a good one.
That is the correct answer. And Mikey wins MHA trivia. Justice Hill, 2 touchdowns. A couple of other guys. Tony Pollard. I was running around cooking, so I didn't get to see a lot of that, but he had 2 touchdowns. And how about Kendrick Bourne? Remember that guy? 2 touchdowns. And how about a guy on Mikey's own team, Romeo Dobbs? He had 2 touchdowns.
That's funny.
No, it's not. There's not a lot of funny on this week, for say the least. We'll get into that, though. Let's get into the week 1 results. We'll start things off with the rematch of the 2022 MHA Championship. Kilgore Trout and the Gonzo Cats. Kilgore's wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown started the scoring season. First NFL touchdown of the 2023 year. He scored 15 points. How about Calvin Ridley coming back to the NFL after a 2-year absence, or almost 2 years absence, racking up 19 points, 8 receptions, 101 yards, and 1 receiving touchdown. Kirk Cousins continued his pass-happy ways, completing 33 completions and passing for 2 TDs, 52 points. Gonzo Cats, not much to talk about here. He did have 21 from, as we just mentioned, Tony Pollard, who has 2 TDs. But, man, Daniel Jones, 19 points, 0 from T. Higgins, and 5 from flex guy Rashad White. This was all Joe's squad. A little revenge. I'm sure Joe would rather have won the championship, but he wins week 1, 136-87. Only 87 points. How about someone who didn't score 100 points? Yours truly. Scored the lowest amount of points in week 1. Everybody loved my team before last week. And I don't know if anybody loves it much anymore. 70 points, falling to Chad Powers' fan club. Miles' team, only 18 from Dak Prescott, but got plenty from Justin Jefferson, 16 points, 10 from DeAndre Hopkins, 9 from Devontae Adams. For the Lemonheads, Joe Burrow, we mentioned, not a great start, just 17 points. Also just 1 point from Christian Kirk on 3 targets. That's scary as hell. Darren Waller, just 4 points, but really no Giants offensive player did much versus that crazy, amazing Dallas defense. We'll talk about that here. How about now? The segues nicely to the Butterfingers versus Hot Tamales matchup. Things were looking the Butterfingers' way. Christian McCaffrey, 24 points. Aaron Jones, 22. Total of 30 points from his wide receivers, Devonta Smith and Mike Evans. And with his quarterback still yet to go, Todd felt pretty confident after the day games were done, but then that night game came, and Nelly, the Cowboys defense piled up 37 points on that abysmal Giants offense. 7 sacks, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, 2 defensive touchdowns, and a block kick, and a partridge in a pear tree. That is a lot. Even with all that, a decent outing from Aaron Jones would have definitely helped the Butterfingers at least give him a chance. But on the very first drive, 4 plays in, Rodgers gets carted off, torn Achilles. He is done for the season. The Tamales end up coming up with the win, 152-103. Mikey actually led the league in scoring. Good job, Miguel. How about those there's the crowd right there. How about the Belt Sanders? The second highest scoring team of the week, 59 total points from his starting wide receivers, 33 from Tyreek Hill and 26 from Brandon Ayuk. We mentioned those big days, both on the Belt Sanders squad. Tough day for eating W's. It didn't really do much. 38 from Deshaun Watson, but man, nothing really else. 3 from Scary Terry McLaurin, 5 from Najee Harris, 5 from Damian Pierce. Better days ahead for Kevin's team. Cooper's Cousins saw a decent day with his starting running backs, 19 from Travis Etienne, 11 from James Conner. Also got 12 from his running back in the flex position, Alexander Madison. Held a 114-68 lead heading into Monday night. We saw what defenses could do, so could the NWA get a big-time performance from the Bills defense, especially with, of course, Zach Wilson under center? No, not quite. Just 5 points from the Bills defense, 13 from the kicker and Tyler Bass. It was a 114-86 win for the Cooper's Cousins. And then the final matchup, Lion Rip begins their season 1-0 after edging out Notorious CUP 127-111. Trevor Lawrence outscored Patrick Mahomes 45-44. But it was a play of Aaron's starting wide receiver core. And who would have thought about this? Michael Pittman and Cortland Sutton, they piled up a total of 29 points. He also got a respectable 26 from the running back group as well, 15 by Chubb and 11 by Ramondre Stevenson. So CUP falls 0-1. In terms of the Dove of the week, I only really saw one, and I think that was the NWA because that was just kind of the closest matchup. The NWA lost. I gotta look that number up because I was typing this stuff last night and you had to wait till the games were over. And so just gonna do the quick math here. And that's never good for a journalism major, but NWA loses 114-86, thus 28 points. And so Tyler Algier was left on the bench. I mean, who would have really known, right? 22 points, though. Jacoby Myers, big day, 25 points. Jordan Love, 43 points on the bench, with Lamar Jackson only scoring 22. And, of course, leaving in 3 points from DJ Moore, 3 from A.J. Dillon. I think that was the only really dough. Am I wrong on that, Miguel?
No, I mean, all the rest were essentially blowouts. So, yeah, not a lot.
Man, a lot of blowouts, including the ankle of Aaron Rodgers. Oh, man. I'm sorry, Miguel. Oh, sorry, Todd, I should say.
Hey, it's okay, because don't worry. In 2 years, when Aaron Rodgers comes back, that chip on his shoulder is going to be so huge,
so massive. All right. Well, let's talk. Do you guys want to talk about your matchup at all, or should we just continue on?
What do you say, Todd? You can't see me right now, but I am rounding up cattle. So, just
Well, I will say this: my first 2 picks, McCaffrey and Jones. There's something there. Those are my. I always talk about your first 2 picks. Making sure you hit on those, and they scored total of 40 points. So that's something there. So and Mike Evans getting a touchdown. You guys were kind of is he going to get the volume, or is Baker going to be able to throw it downfield, and was able to. So there's some silver lining there, and at the end of the day, yes, the Rodgers thing just it sucks. It really it sucks, but that's why you draft. That's why you draft a good overall team. To do it, obviously quarterbacks are a big part, are obviously a main part of our league when it comes to points, but you got to make sure you have a good team, make sure you have a good team around there just in case something kind of catastrophic happens, and well, something did. So I'm, and I have a good backup in Brock Purdy. That offense is high scoring. They put up 30, against the Steelers. So, I'm not gonna, not gonna panic. It's only week 1.
So Todd is incredibly confident in Brock Purdy. He scored 39 points. Not a bad number, but not a stellar number either. Is he too confident in Brock Purdy, Miguel?
Well, I appreciate what Todd is doing here, because he's in the same position as Robert Saleh, the Jets coach, where like now that Zach Wilson's his quarterback, like you have to say all the right things, and you're trying to convince yourself that you're telling the truth, but everybody knows. I mean, come on, it's not looking good. But to answer your question about Brock Purdy, he's okay. He's average. I think I had him ranked in my rankings probably somewhere around 20. Todd, are you being honest? Where did you have him ranked?
That's a good question. Let me see.
I had him find ranked this in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah. If not, then I will find it for him.
I mean, I've said it on this podcast that I think
21.
So 21. I've said it on this broadcast where I felt like he was someone that could outperform his draft stock, and because of the weapons around him. Because I mean, you have guys like Ayuk and Debo and Christian McCaffrey, so many talented weapons. But is he gonna? I mean, with those talented weapons, I mean, Christian McCaffrey's going to get running touchdowns. Debo may get some rushing touchdowns, which just take away from Purdy. I just don't know, with the defense as good as it is he going to be able to put up enough volume? Because usually you get those quarterbacks that have to play from behind and have to rack up the completions. And if San Francisco's defense is legit, which after week 1, he may not have to. But, that's why you draft a backup quarterback, and you're not going to get someone as good as an Aaron Rodgers from unless you draft a backup pretty quick after you draft your starter, which, most people don't. But so there you go. Okay. Anything else you want to say? Good job, Miguel, picking up win number 1. A lot had to go right for you, and it did. Mr. 4-leaf clover over there, let me tell you. It all went well. It all went well. Like both Mike and I were like, yeah, we lost our games this week, whatever. And all of a sudden, it changed after that Dallas game. And then he gets that amazing 37 points. And then Aaron Rodgers goes down for the count and gets 0 points. Voodoo.
Made for some easy watching last night.
Yeah, I bet it did. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Well, let's go through and talk about some of our stars of the week.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
We'll let Todd go first. Who is your star of the week?
All right. Well, I'm gonna go.
Was it the
with...
Dallas Star? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I hate fantasy football so much. One of my stars only put up 19 points, but Calvin Ridley. I mean, I kind of was shitting on him during the offseason, like, oh, he's not gonna, he's been away for football too long. He's not gonna, who knows if he's gonna be back to form than he was when he was in Atlanta. But he proved me wrong. A touchdown and 100 yards receiving shut me up pretty quick.
Yeah. He was the 6th highest scoring wide receiver, but good to see. I mean, not for me, who has Christian Kirk, but had a quick rapport all of a sudden with Trevor Lawrence and looked pretty good right out of the gate. Mikey, who stood out to you in week 1?
So I was choosing between the two receivers on Allen's team, and
yeah,
I decided to go with Brandon Ayuk because Tyreek Hill was his first round pick. You don't necessarily expect 200 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns and double-digit catches every week, which was amazing by Tyreek Hill. But, I said in last week's podcast that my favorite pick was Brandon Ayuk, and man, he just came right out of the gate. 8 catches, 129, 2 touchdowns. Made it really tough for Eaton W's to have a chance against Allen this week.
Yes, sir, man. Goodness. I mean, Tyreek Hill was something else to watch. And then Brandon Ayuk, who, went later in the draft, and you're always concerned about getting those guys. I mean, he had such a good year last year, but I felt like we were all kind of like we thought he was a good play, but with just so many weapons, like, is he the 4th option? Is he the 5th option? And you kind of worry about it. But he put up 8 touchdowns last year and is well on his way this year as well. I was just looking over the running back situation, like who led the running backs in scoring. Christian McCaffrey, Butterfingers, lost. Austin Eckler, 23, NWA, lost. Butterfingers, 22 from Aaron Jones, lost. NWA, 22 points. Tyler Algier, but he was on the bench. He still lost. Gonzo Cats finally. He lost. Tony Pollard. So it didn't seem like the running backs were very helpful this weekend. But I mean, it's hard to admit. We talked about the Dallas defense and what they did. That was ridiculous. You don't see that very often from a defense. Can you guys still hear me here?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought it sounded like my mic changed, but what they did was pretty incredible. I mean, I think I liked what I saw from Travis Etienne. I mean, we were just talking about running backs. I know he wasn't the highest scoring running back, but we just didn't know what to expect. I don't think at least I think most of us on this podcast weren't super high on him. This team likes to throw the ball. He had a really good kind of middle of the year last year, but he kind of finished out slow, and a lot of experts weren't high on him. But then he ended up 77 rushing yards on 18 carries, 5 receptions. So he's involved in the offense, even with, was it Tanks Bigsby, right? He's the backup over there, and people were concerned he was going to steal some. And he did have 1 touchdown, but Etienne was there and part of that offense, who's going to take on Kansas City next week, which, could be beneficial to him. Todd, did you have someone else that stood out to you week 1?
I'm gonna go with granted it was against Giants and they're just horrible, but Tony Pollard, 21 points. He's the guy now. So I was very impressed by him. I mean, obviously that whole game I wasn't too impressed with, but 70 yards and 2 touchdowns, that's pretty good. So I mean, again, it was in a losing effort, but that's still pretty good for Tony Pollard to get him at the end of the end of the first round for Gonzo Cats. That's what I looked at.
Mikey, who else do you got?
So I'm going to give this one to a player that you guys were hyping up last year that I wasn't down with. That was Michael Pittman Jr.
We weren't hyping him up this year.
No, you weren't.
Nope.
No, you
no
were
one
not.
was.
But Aaron got him. Cooper Kupp got hurt, and I'm sure in the back of our heads we were all kind of thinking, well, Aaron's in big trouble at wide receiver. But yeah, Michael Pittman came up big for him. Anthony Richardson, you didn't really know what you're going to see out of their quarterback, and then he comes up with a huge 18 points for Aaron.
Yeah, and I think I had it on my notes. I thought I don't see it here. I must have put it somewhere else. Maybe I put it on my phone. But I mean, I was looking at Anthony Richardson's day. I know he was on the bench, but we talked about all these rookie quarterbacks, and we didn't really talk too much about him. But he was fourth in scoring in terms of points by quarterbacks with 46, and had 24 completions, 223 yards passing, 40 rush yards, and a touchdown there. And so for him to be the fourth guy, I mean, we could talk about Mac Jones, who I believe has, he led the way with 64 points, if you can believe that this week. When I saw it, I was like, really? Wow. And against Philadelphia's defense is pretty good. But Anthony Richardson didn't look half bad as a rookie quarterback. So I thought that was interesting. All right, Mikey, how about you give me a dud?
This is the worst. You are the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
Mikey?
All right, so let's go back. Let's pick on Todd some more.
Oh, poor Todd.
I could go with Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not going to because that's injury related, and Achilles.
He didn't play the whole game, right?
No. So instead, I'm going to go with Drake London, who
did
Todd
play the
started in his flex and got Todd a big fat 0. I think he was
big
targeted.
Goose egg.
I think he was targeted one time. Not that Todd would have won given the injury and everything, but yeah, I mean,
it pissed off Todd though.
It sure
he
did.
talked about it all day on Sunday.
Yep. High hopes for Drake London. It just did not turn out in week 1.
Atlanta only threw 18 times in that game, and most of it was to the running backs and tight ends. Yikes. You could just hear the sigh from Todd. Poor Todd. Just 1 week, buddy. You got Brock Purdy.
That's why. That's why I'm not panicking. Because I'll say this: Dylan tried to offer me a trade, or if I asked me if I was interested in Justin Fields or Derek Carr, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to panic. I believe in Purdy. Okay.
Those are both of your guys.
I understand,
Yeah,
but
aren't you a Justin Fields guy?
And a Derek Carr guy.
I understand, but I'm not gonna go panic, because I'm not gonna panic and just trade off somebody, because he's gonna look at my starting lineup, and he's gonna try to see if he can take whatever I can. Nope, not panicking. I'm pissed, but I'm not panicking.
Todd, give me a dud from week 1.
All right. Amari Cooper, only 4 points. I mean, granted that Cleveland Bengals game was just gross all the way around. So, yeah, not the best there. Only was targeted 7 times for only 37 yards. Eek. Not good at all.
No. Eric, we saved your dud. And it has to be the person that we're thinking it is, because we saved it just for you.
Well,
oh yeah,
I appreciate that, guys. And I mean, I was going to save it for my second round, but since you mentioned it, I will go ahead and bring it up. And I think are we talking about Joe Burrow? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh yeah.
How good was Joe Burrow in week 1?
He was phenomenal.
he
was
had 17
phenomenal,
points.
Eric.
14 of those came on completions, 82 yards, didn't throw a touchdown, didn't throw a pick, but it was bad. And you for those who watched the game, I mean, it was rainy and it was disgusting. Deshaun Watson could manage 38 points in that game. So why can Joe Burrow? And we saw it, right? It was very predictable in the offense. There was 0 crossing routes. Some of those passes, I mean, the offensive line was not good. And we saw this last year at the beginning. I think the first couple of weeks where the offensive line was just terrible. And I saw something just recently that they released one of their offensive linemen as well. Lyle Collins was released from the reserve, physically unable. So maybe he wasn't even playing in that situation. Anyway, I mean, he was being bothered. Joe Burrow was being bothered the whole game. And then anything that they did get into the air, it was either to Joe Mixon or to either Higgins or Jamar Chase down the sideline. And that was it. Like it was like a bad Madden player picking the same plays over and over again. And it was really hard to watch. Like, and even the times there was third and short, they couldn't pick it up either. So, I mean, I'm just banking it as one bad week, but I hope they figure things out, or it's going to be a long season for not only yours truly, but Cincinnati as well. Todd, give me another. Do you have another dud on your sheet there?
I'm going to go with, for G's team, Isaiah Pacheco, only 7 points. Granted, I don't know. Granted, the way that game was on Thursday night was not the best, but only 23 yards rushing. Granted, they were missing. I know they were missing Travis Kelce in that one, so they had to change some stuff up a little bit. But only 7 points for him. And G, I think drafted him pretty high in the draft, so that's a dud right there.
Mikey, who else stood out to you that just pooped their pants in week one?
So, in tandem with your Burrow pick, I have to go with T. Higgins.
8 times he was targeted, I think.
Yeah, we saw it 8 times, and it was like on the same play every time. They just third down and short, go deep to T. Higgins, and the ball's nowhere close to him.
God, every time. Like, why would you just like have him a little out route or a cross or something, man? And just never did that. It was so strange.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was pretty bad, and it with all the other bad performances that the defending champ had, that one was the worst of them. Obviously,
you put a big goose egg for what, 3rd round, 4th round pick. Not good. What my initial dud, and it's more duds, was the tight end position. Like, holy cow. I mean, we knew Travis Kelce was out, Mark Andrews was out, but I'm looking at it right now. The top 6 of 7 tight ends are free agents. The lone guy in the top 7, I should say, so the top 6 of 7 were free agents. The one that was in the mix was Belt Sanders, TJ Hawkinson, who had 9. But then it's Hayden Hurst, 13, free agent. Hunter Henry, 13 points, free agent. Donald Parham, free agent. Blake Bell, 8 points, free agent. Harrison Bryant, 8 points, free agent. Zach Ertz, an oldie but a goodie, with 7 points. So, man, oh man, that is some bad tight end play from the top stars that were drafted. And I don't know if I can even bring up the preseason ranking here. So Kelce, 0. Mark Andrews, 0. Hawkinson, 9th. Darren Waller, 4. George Kittle, 3. Kyle Pitts, 4. Dallas Goedert, 0. Yeesh. What a terrible week for tight ends. Ugh. Unbelievable. Any other duds before we move on, gentlemen? I'm surprised Mikey didn't bring up DJ Moore.
Well, there'll be plenty of more opportunities to bring up DJ Moore, so I didn't really want to go to that well yet.
Oh, very good.
Yep. DeAndre Swift, what happened there?
Yeah, I think
3 rush yards, 1 catch.
Yeah, I think people didn't really know what the situation there was going to be. We kind of made assumptions, but then they decided to go with Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah, that's a weird one for sure. I saw a meme on social media where, for those who know, like, remember The Office, and Creed was the manager for a quick moment, and Pam was trying to distract him from making stupid moves, so she gives him a two pictures of like a building. And she goes, "The company needs you to figure out the differences between these 2 buildings." And he looks and goes, "Oh, I already found one." And then they go to a talking head of her, and she goes, "They're both the same picture." And so in this meme, it has a picture of DeAndre Swift in a Lions uniform and DeAndre Swift in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform. and then it says at the end, same picture, because they just weren't utilizing him, or he was hurt. And again, just wild to see that from DeAndre Swift, who at moments has looked like one of the better running backs in the league. And I don't know if he's just like pissing people off behind the scenes and coaches don't like him, or he doesn't do his homework. I don't know what it is, but they paid a lot to get him, and they have a great offensive line. So there was a lot of optimism. But 1 point.
Maybe he gets his opportunity because, I heard Gainwell has some bruised
rib
ribs
issue or something. Yeah. Yep. So if anybody's interested in picking him up, Kenneth Gainwell, that might be an issue. He may not be able to go this week, but who knows with that situation.
He's on my team anyway, so.
Oh, you have Gainwell? Okay, well there you go. There's one guy I have to less worry about trying to pick up. Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I mean, if we could talk about anything, in terms of great performances or bad performances. Yeah, just going through the teams. We talked a lot about them. Cam Akers. I mean, you talk about Cam Akers and Kieran Williams. Cam Akers still ended up with 8 points because he had a rushing touchdown, but Kieran Williams got most of the run on that team. I mean, who's the Puka?
Well, from
how about that
Rams.
fella, huh? He might be the free agent pickup. Had 15 targets or something? Unbelievable.
Yeah, 15 targets for a rookie.
Yeah. So depending on that whole situation, and then God, that Christian Kirk thing. I told you guys in that last week, so I was kind of nervous, but I didn't expect him to just get 1 reception the whole game. Is that something I have to worry about from this going forward? Or, I mean, part of me is like, it's just one bad week.
Possibly.
I mean, not necessarily, because I think now teams are going to look at, well, Calvin Ridley looks like he can, he's kind of back to form a little bit. I'm not fully back to form, but
he looked good.
I think it's he looked good, but I think too it's going to depend on maybe matchups or who's gonna be covering who or something like that. Because let's put it this way, the top corner for teams now, they're gonna cover Calvin Ridley, so that might be beneficial to Christian Kirk now. So if the top guy is gonna cover Ridley, then Christian Kirk open range. So there's something.
So hold on. So I'm just gonna bring you a fact here. Maybe this will scare Eric a little bit.
Okay.
So this was the percentage of snaps played for Jacksonville receivers.
Oh gosh.
So number 1 was actually Zay Jones at 89%.
I did hear that somewhere today, yeah.
Calvin Ridley 2 at 81. Kirk was number 3 at 60.
Oh,
so that tells me he's number 3, not number 1 or 2.
Yikes. Yikes. You know who else is pretty good this weekend? Jordan Love. Only 15 completions, but 245 pass yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Didn't run a whole lot, but looked pretty good in the stuff I saw. I didn't see the whole game, but talking about Romeo Doubs, and if Christian Watson ever gets back, maybe some positive play there.
Yeah, he looked good. I always like taking a stab at those second-year receivers. Yeah, Christian Watson's one of those guys too. So if he could ever get his hamstring healthy enough, then that'll give you another weapon.
Yeah, well, a weapon. Let's call a weapon. I didn't have a lot of weapons. I had 17 from Burrow and 14 from Philly's defense, which should have been way better. But of course, Mac Jones, 3 touchdowns. But I didn't have anybody else reach double figures. Just a bad week. I'm okay. Me and Ty are going to battle out for the toilet bowl at the end of the year. You watch. But yeah, so I mean, that's all I really got. I'll go through the matchups coming up this weekend. Myself, 0-1, taking on 1-0 Belt Sanders. You know, when we went into this season, I was like, I'm going to play Miles week 1, Allen in week 2. I'm going to be 2-0. Belt Sanders, second highest scoring team in week 1. Watch out. Lemonheads might be 0-2. 1-0 Hot Tamales, taking on the defending champs who are 0-1, Gonzo Cats. Butterfingers, 0-1, will take on 0-1 NWA. 1-0, Chad Powers Fan Club will take on 0-1 Notorious CUP. 1-0, Kilgore Trout taking on 1-0 Lion Rip. Is that the only 1-0 matchup? Yes, it is. 0-1 Eaton W's versus 1-0 Cooper's Cousins. So those are the matchups for week 2. As we head out of here, Mikey, give me something you want to see in week 2, whether it's your team or Broncos or what do you want? No, let's not keep it. I don't want Todd to get involved in this Bronco talk. But what do you want to see in terms of fantasy next week?
I want to see more points.
Yes, sir. Preach it.
More points from tight ends, more points from quarterbacks, more points from my defense.
I don't know if they can get any more points, man. That was
a
obliteration of a team. I've never seen something like that before.
They're playing against Zach Wilson, so.
Oh, jeez.
and that terrible offensive line.
Oh, my.
There could be more fireworks.
Yikes. Todd, what do you want to see in week 2?
I want to see Brock Purdy put up like 50. That's what I want to see.
Dude, who do they have in week 2?
The Rams.
Oh, well, that's possible. That's possible. I'm kind of with Mikey. I want to see more points. I would love to see Christian Kirk reach double figures, but that's going to take a lot of prayer and a lot of magic because, oh, man, I was so high on him. I made a huge mistake. Oh, well. Not yet. It's not yet. It's just 1 week. It is. No one needs to panic. I asked people on the chat, like, anybody panicking? And Kevin said, hey, he's panicking a little bit. But
you should, though, if you're 0-1, man. 0-2 is a scary place to be.
Not impossible, but it's a scary place. We're all better than Aaron Rodgers, though. Okay, that'll do it for this week's episode of the MHA podcast. Week 1 in the books, week 2 coming around the corner. Got to thank Todd. Got to thank Mikey. Of course, yours truly, Eric Lansing, running things around here. We'll see you next week. Good luck to everyone. We'll see you next time.